Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. My name is Jonathan, and if you're new here, I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of achieving a healthy weight. If you do enjoy the video, make sure that you get subscribed to my channel. Also, click on the bell icon so you'll get alerted when I go live, which is usually most weekdays. If you'd like to participate in on the live stream, you can join me at 4 p.m. weekdays. Also, outside of my live streams, if you want to reach out, you can consider joining our Discord. That is a great place for you guys to introduce yourselves and let me know or let us know what your goals are going forward. Also, down in the description below, there is a link to a Pinterest board. That Pinterest board has a lot of our family's favorite whole food plant based meals. If anybody's looking for some meal ideas. Today is day 507 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant based, salt, oil, sugar free diet to lose over 200 pounds. I still have about 20 months to go with the challenge, and I'm looking forward to reaching my goal of 219.8 pounds. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. I'd love to hear how you are doing with your diets. If you're struggling or if you're having issues getting on track, just anything, I'd love to hear from you guys. Um, and we'll go ahead and get started here. I hope everybody had a great day since yesterday. The weather here has been bipolar. It was beautiful yesterday. Kids went to school wearing shorts. Wake up this morning and it's rainy and muggy and just kind of a little bit colder than it was yesterday. So I hope it's nice where you guys are at. Let me see if I have I don't. So, yeah, I hope you guys had a great evening. I am blanking on what we had for dinner last night. I know it had rice in it because I had been talking about having rice all day. It was sweet potatoes and rice. Carrie's gonna have to chime in for me to get the name of the meal, and I'm pretty sure I did not take a photo of it either because it wasn't the prettiest of meals, but it was really good. That we had for dinner, and I'm sure Carrie has shared it somewhere. And if I talk to her later, I'll hit her up about where that. But it was a great dinner, lots of rice. I ended up instead of having a second serving of dinner, which I usually have, I ended up eating some Ezekiel bread with some nut butter. I just felt like it. Like I said, I've had a lot of rice over the last 4 days, so I was a bit riced out last night and just wanted to try or just had one serving of that and then Ezekiel bread and then some juice last night. This morning, oh, and then oranges because I we have some oranges. They seem to be decent right now. They're kind of hit or miss. Some of them in the bag are good, and some are a little bit high, I guess would be the best way to explain it. Um, and then I have been kind of chipping away. We purchased a couple bags, or I purchased a couple bags of dehydrated mango from Costco last week, and I've slowly been chipping away at those kind of as a snack in the evening. But that was mostly what I had yesterday. And then this morning, we ended up having kind of our regular oatmeal again. It's been a week or so since we've had the regular oatmeal. We've been having a much more savory breakfast or having oatmeal with spinach in it. The day before yesterday, we had a kind of mix of spinach and mushrooms and onions that I really enjoyed. It isn't super filling. I suppose if we made 2 or 3 times as much, it would probably be more filling. But it's difficult cooking some of those vegetables, especially spinach. You can throw like a whole box of spinach on a pan, and when it cooks down, it's almost nothing as far as volume goes. So it was nice to go back to kind of our sweet oatmeal for breakfast this morning. It and That's pretty much all I had. Oh, and I had Ezekiel bread again this morning because I was just a bottomless pit. And the scale showed that today. So I'm a little bit nervous for tomorrow, but I think it'll be good. I 0.2 away from getting to my lowest so far. Be nice to hit it. We'll see. I have some meetings tonight, so my plan tonight is to actually just kind of juice fast or only have not have like an actual meal tonight. I'll probably have some cherry juice because I love the cherry juice that we get. It's kind of been something I drink a glass or two of that every day. They say it helps with inflammation. It may, I it's just something sweet, something flavored, and I don't feel guilty drinking a glass of cherry juice. It's just cherries, it's not anything, um, not a bunch of added sugars or anything crazy. Um, so yeah, I'm planning on fasting this evening. I may fast until I weigh in, just because I really like to be under that lowest weight, and that'll probably be the best chance I have. Carrie's checking in saying hi. Hi, Carrie. I hope everything's going good today. I know you don't have a lot of time. Can you tell us the name of last night's dinner? Because I couldn't think of it. I know it had rice and sweet potatoes, and you made this awesome sauce that went on top of it, but I couldn't remember the name of it. Um, so my plan or my intention is to juice fast until my weigh-in tomorrow. Uh, Sometimes I plan on doing that and then I get home and I decide to eat something, that happens. But right now that's my plan. And like I said, it should be a little bit easier because I will be at some meetings this evening. So I won't have the temptation of having those things around tonight. And I'm excited for weigh-in Wednesday tomorrow. I would really like to break into that, low 300s, 30, under 310 would be awesome. I got, about a month and a half before my birthday, and I really want to be under 300 for my birthday. I could that's going to be something that I am absolutely going to hit under 300 before my birthday, no matter what I got to do to get under 300 pounds before my birthday. I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to do it because uh, I've been kind of, they call them plateaus. I feel like I'm on the Great Plains. It's been so long. Harry says rosemary sweet potato and rice casserole or something like that. So, um, I liked it. It was good. It was yeah. So she says it's on our Pinterest board for sure, she says. So if you want to check out the recipe we had for dinner last night, go down to that link below to the Pinterest board, and that is a great spot to find that recipe. I wanted to talk about how I overcame my food addiction. And talked about this a lot in different ways or different aspects of it. And so, really, I just kind of want to get across that I have a different perspective on what food addiction is now than I did when I started this a year and a half ago. Because um, food addiction to me was being addicted to overeating because that's what I did. I overate all of the time. I had many times where I ate to the point of discomfort. Carrie saying that the rosemary sweet potato and rice casserole she made, we had a tahini sauce on that, and she said the link to the tahini recipe is within the recipe itself. So, um, go back to the how I overcame my food addiction. Um, yeah, my mentality before was kind of always that I had this issue with overeating. I'd get myself to the point that I would get sick. Had, I can specifically remember at least one occasion where I overate so much pizza that I, um, I threw up. Like I got to the point, I should have stopped it 5 slices and I went for slice number 6, and it was like an hour later and I threw up because my body just could not handle the amount of food that I was putting into it. Uh, Another quick story that I was going to tell, and it just reminded me of it. I was doing some, I was searching my email for some paperwork that I wanted to find about the building that I work in. And so one of the things that I knew would be on that paperwork was the address to the location I'm at. So I just typed in the first part of my address into my Google search bar and went through the results because I was looking for something specific. And it blew my mind the number of times that I had a Pizza Hut email on my email. Like, it was almost like they were grouped. Like, I would get into these phases where I would order a Pizza Hut pizza to my office, and I'm the only one that works here. So when I would order a pizza here, it would be for me to eat the whole pizza. There was some occasions where, or most occasions where I didn't just order a pizza, but I also ordered flavored wings or got a side of something as well. And um I couldn't believe it. Like, I was really kind of sad when I saw the list. Let me see if I can do it real quick here. Um and it's funny because it ends pretty abruptly at the beginning of 2022, but like, yeah, 6220, I have one there. It must have been something that I had done a little bit further back, but um funny, I also have some other orders from Chinese restaurants here as well. Yeah, anyways, but yeah, so there's a, of 50 emails in here, there's a series here where I ordered a pizza on 12/21, and then 1/23 the following year, then 2/12, then 2/21, then 3/23, then 4/11, and then it kind of skips there, and then 7/12, 8/2. It's so it's like crazy. Like, it's just wild how many times that I had ordered pizza to the office here, and I wonder if it actually says what the order was. It's a little bit uh right. So it was one large original stuffed crust pizza, uh, and then a 8-piece honey barbecue bone out wings. And so that was probably kind of the most common thing I would have ordered. Uh Uh, this one I had 2 pizzas. I had one large hand tossed pizza and sausage and mushrooms, and another one with pepperoni, and then some stuffed garlic knots with marinara. And so it's just crazy. That one actually was an evening one, so that was actually for something else. Uh, it wasn't for just me at work. But anyways, yeah, I multiple times I had ordered these pizzas, and the crazy thing in regard to food addiction, and just I would eat those whole pizzas. Like, I would order a pizza for myself, and if I didn't eat it at lunch throughout a 24-hour period, whether it's the rest of that day from lunch or when I got in the next morning, I heated up what was left. I was eating a a full pizza. And it was kind of, yeah, it was shocking to me because I didn't expect to see that when I did that search. And then it was kind of made me sad, just to think of how much of that crap I was eating. But back to overcoming my food addictions. Um so I have a different mentality about it now. And the reason why, cuz a lot of times before I started this, you talk about addictions and people think about, or they talk about s- addic- addiction to cigarettes or addiction to alcohol, and they say, but food is so much tougher because you have to eat. And it's a bit true. You have to eat. But you can also say that same thing about quitting smoking is something where you have to breathe. It's just the quality of air that you're choosing to let in your mouth. Or the drinking alcohol, you have to drink liquids. It's just what liquid are you choosing to put in your mouth? And you have to think that same way with food. It's what food are you putting in your mouth? It doesn't matter. Somebody who smokes doesn't breathe more or less air than other people. It's just that at certain periods of time, they choose to breathe in air that a lot of people don't choose to breathe in. Um, and with this challenge, I have realized that I can embrace that volume eating that I have always strived for. I I've always felt like in the back of my head that my issue was that I overeat. And that's not an issue. The issue is that I overeat very high calorie foods. If I were to have overeaten spinach, romaine lettuce, kale, rice, that's not a ton of calories. I this weekend I complained about how much rice I ate. Like I could not believe how much rice I ate. Like it was multiple cups of rice that I consumed this weekend. And it was so satisfying. It was satisfying going in, it was satisfying being digested, and it was satisfying going out. And that is, I think, what we're designed. We are designed to live in a world that food's scarce, and when food is around, that we consume as much as we can. We eat different foods now than we evolved from eating because we have access to these amazing foods. But if at some point, there was people that lived in areas of the world that they never saw oranges or bananas or apples. They may have had strawberries, but then they never saw oranges or grapes, like just depending on where you're at, there's different foods that grow. Now we live in this land of abundance that I can go into a grocery store and I can get a piece of fruit from every corner of the earth just by walking around in the grocery store. So the ease of food access has increased, but our drive for volume eating has also stayed the same too. We don't, because we have higher calorie foods and better foods around us, we haven't evolved to the point where we don't need that high volume of food still. It's something where it would take time for our bodies to catch up, even if it ever did catch up, because the environment that we've created of this abundance is not a natural environment. And it is going to last as long as we have that abundance, but there's no guarantee that that abundance is going to be forever. I mean, not to be cryptic or, but there's things that could happen that, having food on the shelves isn't as readily available. And so, anyways, but that's not. So for me, I've embraced the volume eating. I've embraced the idea of eating until I'm satisfied, but I had to change the calorie density of the food. And I really succeeded greatly in changing the calorie density by eliminating the oil. That's a huge part. Eliminating the excess sugar is a huge part of those additional calories. And then eliminating the salt. Even though salt doesn't register as excess calories or doesn't have a calorie content, the effect of eating salt is that you eat more food. If you have a bowl of popcorn in front of you and it is unsalted, you will eat say 3 cups of that popcorn. If you salt that popcorn, you will end up eating maybe 4, 5, or 6 cups of that popcorn because the salt was added, and it causes your gut microbiome or your stomach not to send that stop signal to your brain as quickly. And so by eliminating the salt, oil, and sugar, I've helped bring down the density of the calorie density of the food that I'm eating. And that allows me to continue to eat that higher volume, which has always been my goal, is to eat a lot of food. Um, then what I did though, because that's tough to just do. You can look at things like the calorie density charts and you can say, I'm going to eat anything under 600 or 700 calories per pound, and I'm not going to eat anything over that. And that is awesome. But switching can be difficult. And for me, what I found, the biggest reason why I was able to succeed, and I don't expect everybody to hop on and do an extended water fast, but I created this reset period of time. It was a period of time that, again, was longer than a lot of people would do it. And initially, it was just going to be a 30-day water fast. And then I pushed it to 42 days of water fasting. And that was a great reset for me. And you don't have to water fast to have that reset. What you can do, you can do a juice fast for a while. You just drink juices for a little while. You can mono diet. You can go to a potato diet and eat that for a little while. And you don't even have to do those things for a long period of time. You just have to do them long enough so that you can kind of work out of the actual addictions you had, which are maybe addictions to caffeine or addictions to the sugar. They say milk has addictive properties, like all of these foods that you crave prior to starting your fast or starting your mono diet or deciding to switch, you have there's a chance that you're going to go through withdrawals of those things. And so if you can do a mono diet or you can change what you're doing for a few days or a week, you can help break those addictions to those external kind of forces while also working towards creating a reset. People talk about doing a cleanse, where I'm going to do a juice cleanse or I'm going to do this diet cleanse and I'm going to cleanse my system. And eating fruit and doing those things may clean up your system. Your organs may be do better, or they may process foods better because you do that juice fast. But if you don't use that reset as an opportunity to completely change what you do going forward, then you're not gaining anything other than you're putting yourself through some suffering for your fast or your mono diet. And I did this in 2018 because I thought that water fasting was going to be the solution. It might have been early 2019. I don't remember, but at one point, was all on board with the extended water fasting. This is the solution. I saw internet videos of people that were succeeding with water fasting. I was listening to who I thought were the doctors that were the experts in the field at the time. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do this water fast. It's going to cleanse my system and it's going to be the jumpstart I need to go forward. And it could have been, but I didn't use that time to reset my diet. I used that time to cleanse my body of the toxins that it had in it. But as soon as I finished that water fast, I allowed those toxins right back in, and their bed was still warm. I didn't even let the maids come in and clean the room before I started bringing those toxins back in. And uh, it quickly caused me to regain all of the weight that I lost back. And I felt extremely discouraged because I thought that maybe that was the solution, and then it wasn't the solution for me. I mean, and I know that a lot of you have been out there and you've yo-yo dieted and you've had great success. And, during the end of that success, you're running around, I'm never going to do anything to get fat again. And then 3 months later, you're sitting there going, how do I get back to where I was? And it's because you are still allowing these old foods and these old temptations into your life. And so instead of thinking of doing a fast or a juice fast or a mono diet as a way to cleanse your system, it needs to actually be a reset. You need to reset your system and you need to say, hey, from this point forward, I'm never going back to where I was. And you just make that decision one time and you stick to it for as long as you can. And if you pick a diet that can be sustainable, then it's something that you're able to hold on to for a long. Because if you decide to do your mono diet, you get through 4 days of it, and then you say, okay, now I'm just going to eat 1100 calorie diet, and I'm going to eat just lean chicken and broccoli, and that's going to be my diet. You can do that for a little bit of time, but again, life shows up, kicks you in the pants, and says, you know what? There's no chicken and broccoli available today. What are you going to do? You know, are you going to decide to fast again? But you're running on such a low calorie count already. If you've been doing it for 2 months and you're at 1,000 calories a day for 2 months, the idea of skipping a meal is like torture. I mean, I couldn't imagine trying to convince myself to skip a meal when I had such a routine going years ago when I would do these things. And so with this diet that I'm doing now, I change the calorie density of the food that I'm eating so that I don't ever have that volume issue. So like tonight, I can fast and I'm not worried about it. I've lost 200 pounds so far, and I am still okay with the idea of skipping a meal because I know how much food I had for breakfast this morning. I know that there's still stuff in my stomach that's being digested that's going to give me energy until I decide to eat again. And and that so it's created this new mentality that I have around my food. It's not me still trying to go from meal to meal. It's the greater picture of things where I can look and see that, it might suck to not eat for 24 hours, but I know on the other side of that 24 hours, I could make myself a whole mixing bowl salad and eat the whole thing and not feel guilty because it's going to be like a 500 calorie meal. And before, I couldn't eat a whole bowl of spaghetti and meatballs. I could go and have maybe a meatball and a scoop of spaghetti for that 500 calories. Now, because I have a better understanding of calorie density, volume eating, I can make decisions going forward that help me out. And I don't sit here and crave things. I don't sit here and think about what my next meal is going to be constant. That was one of the things that changed a ton for me, is that so many times I was thinking about what my next meal was. Like there was times where I would be going to bed on a Tuesday night and I'd be laying in bed thinking in my head, what fast food restaurant am I going to stop at tomorrow morning? I went to Taco Bell this morning, so I probably shouldn't go to Taco Bell again 2 days in a row. Maybe I'll run over to Burger King. They got that deal where I can get a couple sandwiches for $5 as opposed to paying full price for the sandwiches. So I can go and I can get a value meal. I'll get a sandwich. I'll get a large fry and a large diet soda, and then I'll get that 2 for $5 deal as well. So I end up with 3 sandwiches and it's only going to be about $12. I saving some money. Like I'm having these dialogues about my food the day before, and I don't have that kind of thought process anymore. And Carrie's kind of, I think, the same way, in that we're not sitting here worried about our next meal. We just know that we got to go to the cupboard and throw some ingredients together and make a meal that it actually takes longer to process. Like the actual act of cooking now for us is much more difficult than it used to be, because in the past, when I was worried about getting a large volume of food, I was also worried about getting it as quickly as possible. So I order a large pizza from Pizza Hut with 8 wings. That's a large volume of food, and it's going to get here quick, and it's going to be very little effort for me. Now we've changed our mentality. I feel like you need to go back to making your own foods. I think that that's a huge part of it, is going back to scratch cooking and being in control of the food that you eat. Because when you give other people that control, whether they do it intentionally or not, they are going to add more of these unhealthy ingredients than you would maybe on your own. Because a lot of times, especially like if somebody's making a meal for you, they always say, I added a little bit of love. And that little bit of love that they added was probably an extra scoop of sugar, or a little bit of extra of the fat content to make it a little bit more savory. So they are making the food a little bit richer, a little bit more calorie dense, because they don't want you to be disappointed when you eat. So when you are in control of the food you eat, you know the exact amount of the ingredients that goes into it. And it's difficult for everybody to do that. But if you can go back to scratch cooking, I feel like that is another big way that I came over my food addiction, is because I wasn't allowing other people to control the levels of those kind of what ends up being addictive things like the sugar and the uh, salt, things like that. So, anyways, yeah. So for me, how I overcame my food addiction, one was I embraced the volume eating. I realized, or I find out what calorie density was. I changed my relationship with food by doing a fast. I made a conscious effort to not just cleanse my body, but to actually go through and reset what I was doing. And I didn't expect to do as big a reset as I did. I never intended to eat a whole food plant-based diet. I definitely didn't intend to not eat salt, oil, or sugar anymore. And that has been because I was open and I knew I needed a complete overhaul, that those things worked for me. I'm going to get out of here today, guys. I got some meetings tonight, so I can't go too long. I appreciate everybody checking out my videos. Um, Leave a comment down below with how you're doing with your diets. If you found anything to kind of help you overcome your food addictions, I'd love to hear your guys' hints or your suggestions. But I am going to get out of here. So there's a couple links I didn't talk about, and I haven't talked about in a couple days, but I have 2 links down below. And if you're still listening, I highly recommend that you click on that top link. That is a video I did a few months back now, but it just got released in the last couple weeks, of an interview that I did kind of about my progress towards losing weight on a whole food plant-based diet. Also, below that, there's a link to a support group that I don't have any control of. I'm just a member of the support group, but I think it's a great place if you're looking for any type of support on eating a whole food plant-based diet. There's people from all over the country that are part of that group, and it is really a nice community that people are very helpful and willing to kind of give advice or answer any questions. So I would suggest checking that out. If you haven't liked the video, like the video, subscribe to my channel, click the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live. And if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's no reason to wait. There's nothing coming up that's more important. I had somebody comment the other day, because there's so many holidays. I'm just thinking of like the US holidays or the Christian holidays when I talk about a lot of these things, but every weekend it seems like there's something to celebrate. We had a birthday party last weekend, we had a baby shower last weekend, 2 huge celebrations. What do we do with those celebrations? We have potlucks. We surround all these celebrations with food. So there's no celebration coming up that is more important than your health and your overall well-being, because If you don't, maybe the next celebration that comes up is your funeral, and everybody's bringing food to your house or to your, to your funeral reception. So get started right now. Don't wait. Your health is more important. Don't fall for the myths of moderation, the myth of moderate consumption. Oh, a little bit of this, it can't hurt. A little bit of cancer is going to cause a little bit of cancer. So quit eating the highly processed meats. A little bit of fat's only going to make you a little fat. Don't quit eating the high fatty foods. Also the idea, the myth of moderate change, that you can just slowly add in salads, add in vegetables. I'll eat healthier food a little bit. I'll eat it, one meal a day will be a healthy meal. Some people can figure it out. Most people, when they get done, they say, I wish I would have changed sooner. I wish I would have known how well I feel. You're going to change your diet completely anyways. If your goal is to switch to a whole food, plant-based, SOS free diet, then why drag it out? Just cut it off. Make your last meal the last meal you had with the junk food, and make your next meal the first meal of the rest of your life. I will talk to you guys later. Have a great evening.